in, if you are shopping for a car now or in the next 12 months, I want you to type me in the comments. All right, so we know who we're talking to. And Instagram. All right, Instagram. I see Instagram log this out again because I switched from the screen. We're just getting used to this. But as you come in, if you are shopping for a car now or in the next 12 months, just type me. And I want to know because I want to talk specifically to y'all. Specifically to y'all. If you're shopping for a car, after that, that's fine. But I want to talk specifically to the people who are shopping now. Now, um, after you let us know if you're shopping, I want you to check in. Where we at? Where are we at today? Let me know where you are in the country. I like to do a roll call, check in. Where are we at in the country? Good to see you, Calvin. Good to see you, Catrella. Good to see you, Charlicia. Steeler Nation, St. Louis in the building. I see you. Okay. Hold on. Let me go here. TikTok. All right. Where y'all at? Let's. Okay. I see Dallas, Texas. I see Tampa. Hold on. I'm trying to see every Chicago, Illinois, VA Beach, Utica. I see you. Check in. Where we at today? Where we at this afternoon, evening, morning? Come on in. All right, we got the whole country on here. And we got the whole country on here. All right, I want to welcome y'all to Car Q&A with me, Deshone the Auto Advisor. As you come in, if you could spend a minute or two with us, 5, 10 minutes, an hour, you're gonna get a lot of value out of it. We're getting ready to do some rapid fire Q&A, and we're gonna be answering all types of questions about car shopping and what you need to know to make sure you're saving thousands on your next car and every car you get after that. So as you come in, if you're not subscribed, if you're not following, you will benefit from hitting that follow button. You will benefit from hitting the subscribe button because we're going to be doing this live show pretty regularly to make sure that you guys have access to all the information. So before we get into Q&A, I want to give people time to come in. I also want to finish up the housekeeping. My new digital book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, is now officially released. We are doing a 75% off sale. It's normally $97. It's a digital book. It has links to videos. It has links to my scripts. There's no guesswork in this, y'all. I want to give y'all a process that y'all can use for the rest of your life without having to worry about, I want y'all to be able to guarantee a success. So if you're on Instagram, you can go to the Instagram bio. You won't leave the broadcast. Get your 75% off because it's only available for a few minutes at 75% off. TikTok bio, and then Facebook and Instagram. Y'all can go to deshonsbook.com or you can scan the QR code. So let's go. Let's get your questions going. I want y'all to enjoy using that book. Get your 75% off and enjoy not reading it, enjoy using it. All right. So let me see. Let's start bringing in some comments. Where's our first question? Do I have to get financing? Oh, by the way, in a few minutes, y'all, I'm going to be giving y'all a very, very deep look into a game that's going to help you understand leasing versus buying. So in about 5-10 minutes, we'll start that game and you're going to love it. You'll never be confused on whether leasing or purchasing is going to save you more money after we play this. Do I have to get financing to lease a car? No, you don't. Whenever we lease a car, we are always using the dealer's financing department, their companies, the bank that makes the car. And because we can't shop for our own financing, how do we make sure that they're not marking up the interest rate on the lease? Multiple offers. There's no way for you to make sure they're not marking up the interest rate on the lease without multiple offers. That is what reveals the true deals when you're shopping for a lease. So there's no interest rate to shop for, but we must protect against interest rate markups with multiple offers because some dealers will mark up the interest rate and never tell you. They'll just give you the quote, and they're depending on you not shopping their competition to find out that they marked up the interest rate on the lease. All right. So when you get your offers, it's always with multiple offers. Shout out to the sharers. Shout out to everybody who's sharing the broadcast. If this is your first time on a live with me here, just type 1. Type the number 1 if this is your first time on a live. I'm near the end of a 3-year lease. Is it best to buy the vehicle or lease another? It's very rarely best to buy. Very rarely. Shout out to the first time viewers. Good to see y'all. Very rarely, if ever, good to buy your lease. I'm going to tell y'all why. Because when you buy your lease, you're buying a used car. When you buy your lease, you are buying a used car. That's all that's happening. So, being that you are buying a used car, you need to know if would I normally buy a used car versus leasing. And the only way it makes sense to buy your lease out is if you're keeping the car another 8 years. I'm going to tell you why. You've already had the car for 3 years. You've already had the car for 3 years. Most people, when you buy your lease out, you're getting another 5 or 6 year loan for the balance. So you're committing to 8 or 9 years of payments on the same car. This spills into bad lease deals. The reason we don't take 48 months leases on a lease, because we're paying too long on a vehicle that we're giving back. We never want to be tied up long term in a vehicle we're giving back. That's the whole point. Leasing is meant to be 3 years, 39 months, sometimes 2 years, depending on what they're offering, in and out, switching cars very fast, always under warranty, keeping our payments low. Okay. Can y'all light up TikTok with the likes? Can y'all continue to tap the screen on TikTok? I see we got a few hundred people. We got about 400 people on total, all the broadcast. Could you actually hit that share button? Because I promise you, y'all, no one will ever get mad at you for sharing my page with them. I guarantee you that. In fact, my goal is to get them to thank you. Hey, thank you for sharing that. I like that guy's stuff. We try not to waste any time here. What about paying cash? VJ Live said, let me put this question up on the screen. If you're on, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube so y'all can see the whole thing, the presentation, when we share these numbers. We can't do that on Instagram and TikTok. So VJ Live said, what about paying cash? I have about 15,000 and I don't want payments, but they keep trying to push me to 25 grand range so I can have payments. Here's the thing. If you can find a quality car for 15 grand, great. If it's going to force you to buy something that's not, who's heard you always pay cash for a car? If, as you come in, thank you, Godhead. Shout out to the sharers. I see y'all. Who's heard always pay cash for a car? Type me in the comments. If you've heard always pay cash for a car, type me in the comments. I see y'all lighting up. Keep tapping the screen on TikTok. We appreciate it. Y'all lighting up the likes. Y'all can see where we at on the likes in the top left. Who's heard always pay cash? Right? 5150 times heard it. VJ Live said, heard it all my life. Now listen, bunch of Dave Ramsey advice. Now here's the real. Here's what I'm just telling y'all. We got a bunch of people on here, hundreds of you all say, yes, I've heard you pay cash for cars. Now there's two schools of thought here. One is no debt. Now if your philosophy is no debt, I'm not here to convince you to change your philosophy. Here's what I'm here to talk to you about. If your philosophy is I want to do what makes the most financial sense, then we'll have that conversation. Because people who could pay cash for cars and don't, they typically are making money on their money. When I was in the dealership, people would come in, they would ask, what are the interest rates this month? If the interest rates were 0%, something special like 0%, 1%, 2%, 3%, if they knew that they were getting 10, 15, 20% returns on their money, they're not going to put it in a car. They're going to use the bank's money at 1, 2, 3%, and they're going to use their money to keep making 10, 12, 15, 20%. That's the philosophy. So they view that as, I'll pay 3%. They view it more as a business transaction than as a leveraging money to make more money. See, some people will tell y'all people who don't pay cash for cars, they're into debt. But I'm here to tell you that when I sat with very, very savvy people in my career with Mercedes and General Motors, I had tons of people who could easily have wrote a check for the car. I want you to know that if your goals are to eventually get into making more money with your money, investing your money, getting 10%, 12%, 8%, trying to beat inflation, then you're going to have a problem putting your cash into cars. Because not only, if let's say we park right now, this is just as answering VJ Live's question, because I got it up on the screen here on YouTube and Facebook. He's asking about paying cars. And many of you, as you sit on the show, you'll see, Dad, that's a similar question. Many of you will see someone's going to ask the same question you have. When we start seeing that we can actually use the bank's money for less, we're gonna realize that when you put $20,000 of your hard-earned cash into a car, that money cannot make you more money. That $20,000 that you just put in the car cannot make you more money. You have maxed out the value of that $20,000. It's in a car, you can't pull it out. You could refinance, but that's not happening. You're going to refinance and just get another loan. The point is, your money's in that car now. So had you had an opportunity to invest that 20 and make 8%, 10%, 6%, 12%, that's what the people who don't pay cash for cars who are wise are doing. I'm not telling you there's a difference. Look, I talk a lot about budgeting. I talk a lot about affordability. All through my book, I have systems and boundaries. The rule of 72 and the 10th birthday, how long of a loan you take, how much, when should the car be paid off? That's all in my book. You can get it 75% off, or you can watch my videos. I'm going to always teach it. But if you want it all in one place right here, get the book, 75% off. It's in my TikTok or Instagram bio. But that's what we got to know. We got to know if we're going to use leverage and use the bank's money, there are extremes of leverage. There is over leverage. And we cannot be over leveraged. That means we're taking a loan that's too much, too long, we just want to borrow to try to afford a car. And you see this a lot with older cars, people buying luxury cars that they really can't afford because, brand new, the car is 80 grand. But if they get a 10-year-old one and they get a 5-year loan, now they're in a 2013 AMG Mercedes with 90,000 miles on it. So that's the opposite extreme. Using leverage and loans to buy things we can't afford. But then the other opposite extreme is paying cash when we don't have to. Finding that balance between getting the car we want, getting the best car we can afford. Because you said, hey, I'm trying to find a car for 15 grand. I can't find it. They want me to spend 20, 25. Well, the name of the game is you better learn how to find if there's any cars out there for 15, you better learn how to find them. And you look everywhere, you look over all the marketplaces, and before you raise your budget up to 2025, we have something we do called the perfect budget. You got to go to 17 first. You don't go from 15 to 2025. You go from 15 to 17. See if I can find anything good for 17. Oh, I can't. All right, now I go to 19. And I have this calculator that's going to help you guys inside the book. It's called the Perfect Budget Calculator. You put in the money you have, you put in what you want your payment to be. It's going to tell you how much car you can buy. You put in your state, so we could have. How many times y'all walk in, right? And you're like, man, I want to spend 25 grand on a car, but you forgot to factor in taxes and the fees. How many times does that happen? Type ouch if you've ever dealt with that. Let's be willing to be honest. You had a budget in your mind. This is what I want my monthly payment to be. This is what I want to spend on the car. Next thing you know, you're a little over that budget, or sometimes a lot over that budget, and you're leaving like, all right, I see you, 919 Mike. Thank you. I see you, Mika Larkin. Shout out to everybody willing to be honest. See, in order for us to really make sure we don't make these mistakes, we got to be honest of the fact we've made them. So that's what we want to do. We want a budgeting system that tells us when we can. You spend any more than this, and you're going to be over your budget. You said you want a payment of $400 a month. That means you said you only got $1,000 to put down, or nothing to put down, or here's what you can spend on a car. And when you use this perfect budget calculator, you're going to never go over budget. Because honestly, y'all, we don't want to be anywhere near our top of our budget. We want to be shopping under our budget. That's where I want y'all, under your budget. That's why I said if your budget was 15 and then your max might be 20, 25 with a loan, all right, we got to go from 15 to 17, to 17.5 to 18. We don't just jump to 20, 25. But we need a methodical system to do that, to help us do that. How do I get out of an upside down lease? Jose, you can only sell out of it. That's all you could do. You could sell out of it. If you, no matter what, y'all, who's in a car that they want to replace and they think they're upside down? They may have some negative equity. This is all in the book. I would really like y'all, the reason why I'm doing the 75% off, couple reasons. The book just officially came out, but I really want y'all not having to remember this. Yes, this live rebroadcast, it's going to be syndicated. So no matter when you're watching it, the information is going to be valuable and applicable. But I really want y'all to have the book so that you can actually reference the information over and over again. Thank you, B-Bad. Thank you for this info. Thank you, SJF Racing. So, all right. Yes, 25 goes to 30 real fast. Let me show y'all something, and then we'll continue. This is where we are right now on Goodreads.com. We're rated 4.94. We've already received 27 reviews, 31 ratings, and the book hasn't been out yet. So if you go to Goodreads.com, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, you can see what I'm posting. But I'm sharing the fact we're already rated 4.94, 31 ratings, and the book hasn't come out yet. So now that it's officially out, I really want y'all to have it. And so make sure you take advantage. Get your 75% off. It's normally $97, but while you're watching here, it's 75% off. Everything I teach is in there in one place, so you don't have to remember it. All right. If you have let's talk to the people who are in an upside down lease or upside down loan. First of all, we don't want to be there. I'm gonna tell y'all why. If you're in an upside down lease, that means you didn't pick your mileage correctly. That means something happened, because with a lease, you have to have predictable miles. You have to know how much you're going to drive roundabout. You got to be able to guesstimate. That's why if you're running a Turo business, when you're trying to rent the car out for, 40,000 miles a year, or you don't know how much it's going to be on that car. Could be 20, could be 40. A lease is not good because you can't predict the mileage. But in normal life, we can predict our mileage very closely. Now, when things happen, let's say you were working at home, and now all of a sudden you are, you're not working from home anymore. Now you got to drive into the office to 20 miles away. Well, that's a lifestyle change. That can lead to you racking up mileage penalties. But here's what we don't want to do. You don't want to buy that car, y'all. I'm gonna tell you why. Every time you lease, you have a price that you can buy the car for. Most times it ain't worth that. Yes, in the last couple of years, we saw a couple cases where, the buyout prices were good. Before the pandemic, the buyout prices usually were nowhere near what you could get a comparable used car for. So if your car was 3 years old with 36,000 miles on it, the prices they were putting was to make you not buy the car, was to make you send it back to them so that they can handle it and resell it. So if the price wasn't worth it to begin with 36,000 miles, I've seen people, you go over your miles and you're like, I'm over the miles, I'm just going to buy it. The price wasn't worth it with good mileage. The price wasn't worth, if you had 36,000 miles, that car wasn't worth you buying for the buyout price. You actually have 48,000 miles and they want you to pay the same price for it. So it's important that if we have to deal with penalties because we didn't structure the lease correctly, or because we didn't quite know what we were going to be driving, or we had a lifestyle change, taking the penalty and applying it over to our next deal is always, not always, but in most cases, going to be less money than us buying an overpriced car with high mileage now. We cannot just keep buying our leases without doing a market check. So when you asked about how do I get out of a lease with negative equity, all you can do is find out what the penalty is. There's 3 ways that you could get out of this thing. You could either pay the difference. So if you got, you could wait until your mileage, and this is, all right. If you have negative equity on a lease, I don't even like to call it negative equity because there's no such thing as negative equity on a lease. There's penalties. That's different. Penalties on a car you purchase. Yes, there's negative equity. You bought it, you have a loan on it, the value is not worth the loan. Negative equity. With a lease, we have penalties, over mileage penalties. And now some people will say, well, I'm going to go over mileage. I'm going to get out of the lease 3 months early. But you don't realize if you get out of the lease early, what do you still have remaining? Payments. Three months of payments, 6 months. Who's ever had a dealer say, hey, don't worry about the payments. We'll take care of the old payments. Who's ever heard that? Type me if you've ever had a dealer say to you, don't worry about the old payments. We'll take care of the old payments. Okay, lots of you. The problem with that is the payments don't disappear. They always get rolled over to the next lease. They always get rolled over to your next deal. So what I want y'all to start doing is I want y'all to see that. The money is not hitting. When you have negative equity, 5,000, you got this baggage from your old car, it does not go away. It gets either transferred or you can pay off the difference. So the key is to stay out of negative equity, to stay out of penalties, because yes, once you have them, they have to be accounted for. We got to find our great deal, and then we got to bring our penalties over on top of the great deal. That's all we can do. Now, you better try to see what your car is worth selling it, because you said you're over miles. You call your leasing company, you get your payoff, you find out what your cash offers are. Go to Vroom. Vroom's out of business. Sorry, CarMax, Driveway, Carvana, AutoNation, and Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. You can go to Car Guru, Sell My Car Too. These are all people that give you cash for your car. That's what your car is really worth, what those companies will pay. Whoever's the highest bidder, we take that. See, what I'm teaching y'all, and some of you are going to get it immediately right here, right now. Some of you, it's going to take a while to get the fact that your money comes when your savings come when you start learning to make people bid instead of getting one offer. You get the most money when you start learning to make people bid. And so what you have to do is get multiple offers, find out what your car is worth. When you go on those websites, when they ask you, is it a lease, say no, because their websites are set up to where if you put it's a lease, it's going to automatically trigger that they can't buy it. But they can buy it. We've been doing this, y'all. I got hundreds and hundreds of members in Cars from Home University. We shop all around the country. You must put no when you're getting offers for a lease, because their computer is set up to automatically think that it's a third-party restriction and they can't buy it. But when you call your bank, you're going to ask them, do I have a third-party restriction? If they say no, then that means you can sell to anybody. But again, the way these companies are set up, they saw us making all this money on these cars, and the bank said, no, we got to do these third-party restrictions. And it was so many people going to those websites saying, oh, I'm about to sell my lease. And then they would get there, or they would talk to them and they would say, no, we can't buy it because it's a third-party restriction. So they just made their website default to we don't buy leases, but we do know if you don't have a third-party restriction, they can buy your lease. And it's very important for you to know that. And if you do have a third-party restriction, it doesn't limit the fact you can sell and make money. It limits who you can sell to. When you have a third-party restriction, they say what they're saying is you can only sell your car to a dealer that makes the same brand. You cannot sell to a third-party, Carvana, Driveway. You can't sell to them directly. You can only sell to a dealer. So what does that mean? I see y'all lighting up the likes on TikTok. Can y'all keep tapping the screen? Let's keep those likes going up. I see it. I appreciate it. And thank you to everybody sharing. So when you are, I just got off my point, but I know it was about selling. So multiple offers, y'all. This is all in the book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. Who has their copy? Who got their copy? We'll continue. We got about enough. We got some more time. We're gonna keep doing Q&A, but who got their copy of the book already? Who got their 75% off? I really want y'all using this. The book is affordable for everybody. Everybody. All right, especially at 75. Now it should show, make sure it's not showing the $97 price. That's the normal price. I see you, 5150. Okay. All right, I see you, Jimbo. Okay. Okay, I see you, Diane. I appreciate you. Okay, and I want y'all to use it. Don't read it, use it. That is like literally, it's an action guide. That ain't a book you read and then you have a bunch of things you got to remember. I'm walking you through the process step by step. And again, everything I teach is in my videos. So I don't hold back in my videos, but I do want y'all to have access to all the information in one place. If if you don't want to cycle through all my videos to try to find it. All right, is it worth buying a car from Carvana? That's a great question, Danny. It depends on if it's the best deal in the market. Danny said, is it worth it to buy a car from Carvana? Now, you can put anything in there. You can put Driveway, any of these online sites, online car buyers, online used car sellers. But here's the game that we avoid. We cannot shop from them exclusively, because here's what they try to do. They'll try to sell you a car based on variety. Hold on. My do not disturb should be on. My do not disturb should be on. So anytime you see, hold on one second. I keep getting a call and I don't know why it always does this. I don't want to lose the people on Instagram. Hold on, Instagram. We got you. All right. We should be back on Instagram now. Okay. So most times, especially when we're selling our cars to these people, you got to realize we sell our cars to Carvana, to Driveway, to all these companies because they pay more than dealers on average. If they're paying more than dealers on average, they're usually not the lowest price. When they're selling the cars, they're usually one of the highest. You can't pay people more than dealers and then turn around and sell for less than dealers. That could be part of the reason why Vroom went out of business. But whenever we shop for a pre-owned car, Carvana is always on the list. Whenever we shop for a pre-owned car, CarMax is always on the list. Driveway is always on the list. Why? Because we shop everywhere there's a used car. You may have been trained to shop local with used cars, or to shop I only go to Car Gurus. Then you're missing the stuff that's on cars.com. You're missing the stuff that's on carfax.com. You're missing the stuff that's on Driveway. You're missing the stuff that's on CarMax. So we got it just the same way. If we were buying a baby stroller, we're going to go to Walmart, right? .com. We're going to go to Amazon, right? We're going everywhere, right? That's the same way we got to be when we're shopping for used car. Carvana is just one marketplace. And unfortunately, there are people who shop from them exclusively because they're like, oh, I just love Carvana. I don't have to go into the dealer. And they don't realize that, one, what I teach you won't be in a dealer more than 30 minutes. And also, if I'm not checking their prices, I'm going to overpay. And I'll literally have I didn't have to go to a dealer, but I got a car in my driveway that I could have got for $5,000 less if I just shopped around the right way. I did just mention Auto Trader. Auto Trader's on our list, Alex. Auto Trader is one of our marketplaces. It's one of the marketplaces we shop on. It's just like a Walmart. It's just like a Amazon.com. Auto Trader is a big one. We definitely don't skip any used car marketplace. Now, we don't use Auto Tempest because Auto Tempest pulls and aggregates some data from other people's websites. They're not their own marketplace, so they can't get all the data. So that's why I don't use them. We just go direct to the marketplaces themselves, because no company has the rights to market everyone's product. And so as long as no company has the right to market everyone's products, the only way we're going to see all the product is by being on all the marketplaces. But I'll show you how to do this quick. This shouldn't take you more. Look, y'all, this is going to sound crazy, but it shouldn't take you more than 60 minutes, 90 minutes to get your best deal on a car. No, 90 tops. Tops. Not only do I want y'all saving thousands, I want y'all to save time. Deciding what you want shopping, test driving, that takes time. That's fun. Getting the deal, that should not take you more than 60 to 90 minutes when you learn how to get bids. Okay. And the more you stick around, the more you use what I teach, you're going to make deals and save more money in like less time. I don't want to spend more than 60, 90 minutes getting my car deal, and I don't. All right. Ivan said, planning to get a new car ASAP. What are the steps to prepare that you would suggest? Well, first thing is to know whether you're buying or leasing. Let's go into this game. All right, let's go into this game. Thanks for reminding me. Now let's this is a game that I've done this on in some master classes. This is also in Cars from Home University, my video library. So what I want to show y'all is I want to show y'all this game I like to call Who's Winning. Okay? This is why. Now listen, we get ready to make some people mad at some people. I don't want y'all to get mad, but once y'all see this, y'all are gonna be mad at some people who taught y'all bad information about leasing, and it's cost y'all money. This is always step one. Now I'm getting calls from Facebook. How could this is so weird. I don't get how the heck I have my phone on do not disturb and I'm still getting calls. That is so weird to me. Got to figure that out. So bear with us, Instagram. Instagram is always the one that has to bear with us, but all right. So this is what we're doing here. And look, go to YouTube or go to Facebook and watch the rebroadcast. Rob Rue said, where do I purchase the book? Everybody who wants to purchase the book and get the 75% off, if you're on Instagram or TikTok, go to my bio, click the picture of me, go to my bio, you'll see a link, and then you'll see 75% off. Grab it. You won't even leave the broadcast, so you don't have to worry. You'll be right here. You'll still be able to hear me. And then if you're on YouTube, or you can go to deshonsbook.com. If you're on Facebook, go to Deshon's Book, or you can scan the QR code. So what we're about to do, I'm going to ask y'all a question. We're going to go down the road and we're going to compare two different people here. People who buy a car and people who lease. This is step one. Before you think about how much you're getting how much you're going to pay, your budget, any of the things, do I have down payment? Before we think about any of that, I want y'all to know what the most important question is. That's leasing versus buying. So on this screen, I'm comparing a person who leases and got a brand new $40,000 Jeep Grand Cherokee 2024. Now, I want y'all to look at this if you're on Facebook and Instagram. If you're on Facebook or YouTube. This person with a good lease deal is paying $500 a month. $500 a month for a brand new $40,000 car. Now, the person who purchases, some of y'all know every $5,000 on a loan is about $100 per month. So if you're looking at a $40,000 car, you're looking at about $800 per month on a 5-year loan. Now, I got this person in here on a 6-year loan at $675 a month. That's how much this car costs. 6-year loan, 3.99%. $675 per month. Let me ask y'all a question. Looking at this screen, who's winning so far? Two people drive off the lot in a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee. They have the exact same vehicle. One is white, one is gray. One person's paying $500 a month. They're leasing it. One person's paying $675 to buy it. $675 for 6 years. Who's winning, the lease or the purchase? Put L or P. We're just talking about, literally, we just drove off the dealership. You sitting in this car next to me. We got the same truck. I'm paying $500 a month. You purchased it. You're paying $675. Who's winning? The lease. Exactly. If you're saying purchase, you're missing it. You and me are in the same car. I'm leasing the same car as you for $500 a month. You're paying $675 a month. Same exact car. Who's winning? Exactly. See, Rob, and these are the things where we can't look. There is no, the purchaser is not winning. It's not no. It depends. We have to go straight up. We have to go straight up by the numbers. See, that's where we lose at. We lose with all of this subjective, oh, well, it depends on how we look at it. No. You're driving a 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm driving the same vehicle as you. I lease it, and every month $500 comes out of my household. Every month $675 comes out of your household. We have the same exact car. Who's winning? The lease. Exactly. That's what we got to. We're going to go down the road. And listen, go subscribe to YouTube. Watch we're gonna syndicate these episodes. So you might be watching the syndication. It doesn't change the value. I want you to see that $500 a month coming out of someone's household is $175 less than $675. So the person who leased so far is $175 per month richer. Every month, the person who's leasing over here is $175 per month richer. Now let's go to the next slide. Now, 3 years later, person wants to buy. Now, here's the thing about the purchase. There's an amount you owe. On a 6-year loan, they would owe $24,000 at the end of 3 years. I've already done it. You can watch this. That's how much the balance on their loan would be. It would be $23,400. So that's the amount they need to break even on the car. Now, mind you, they've already spent $175 per month more than the person who leased. So they're $6,300 poorer. You can see they're $6,300 poorer. See, I want y'all to see that everything that you're doing when you're not leasing is trying to catch up to the person who got a great lease deal. Everything from the moment you purchase, you're putting so much money out into the car compared to the people who get great lease deals that now your only goal is to catch up to them. This is why this is step one right here. Go to YouTube, watch it on YouTube so you can get the whole view. So $675, $500. Now, this vehicle, y'all, is $40,000 brand new. What is a 3-year-old vehicle worth? If it was $40,000 brand new, what is it worth after 3 years? $40,000 is a fair estimate $24,000. I tried to look at what I believe a fair estimate is for a 3-year-old vehicle resale value. If we purchase a vehicle for $40,000 in 3 years, when we go to trade it, 36,000 miles, is it fair that vehicle, a fair estimate is about $24,000? You're not getting 28. Let's be honest here. We're not buying a vehicle for 40, coming back and get 28 3 years later. So here's the problem. When we get 20, you're not getting 28. And don't let the last 2-3 years of having high resale values confuse y'all. Don't do that. You will destroy yourself. You don't want to. There is no class, Solomon. There's no class. This is the class. Just tune in and lock in. Like, this is serious financial education that is going to be simple if you just focus on it. If you buy a vehicle for 40, the average that you're going to see that vehicle when you go trade it in is you get about 24 on. That is going to be a good cash resale value. And that's what happens to most people. And as you can see, they still owe, if your vehicle's only worth 23,400, I mean, if your vehicle's only worth 24, but you owe 23,400, you're breaking even. This is nothing. Like, I've already spent so much more than the person leasing, and now when I go to trade my car in, I'm not even able to get enough money to catch up to them. I'm not able to I'm $6,300 behind the person who leased when you purchase, and I'd have to get all that money back to make it worth it to have bought. That's why, y'all, when you buy your cars and trade in, you notice how much you always worry about how much you're going to get for the car. Y'all notice that if you're a person and you buy your cars and you keep them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you notice how you're always worried about, man, that's all you're giving me for my car? That's all you're giving me? Nah, you got to give me more than that. You know who doesn't worry about that? Keepers. Anybody in here who buys a car, keeps it till the wheels fall off, you never worry about what the car is worth, right? Because you're using all that value. That's what we do when we purchase. But here with a lease, you're always behind. If you purchase a brand new car compared to a person who leases, you're always behind. You can't catch up with them. You're paying too much money. So this is an intro. We didn't even talk about the fact, what if the person has an accident? And I really like wish that y'all could see this on YouTube. And can y'all see the screen on Instagram? I don't know. Are y'all able to see the slides on Instagram? I don't know what view y'all have on Instagram, but we're not talking about if the person has an accident. If the person has an accident in the car that they own, you lose two grand of your value. So the buyer is always behind. Now we can go down the road. When we go down the road, you'll see that eventually the person starts catching up, but it's only after 8 years. You can't catch up to somebody who's paying $175 a month less than you to drive the same car as you. That money just keeps adding up. And we were taught that we're supposed to purchase, but only if you're long-term. That is when you purchase. 8 years, nothing more. All right, so I got to see how I'll probably try to do this and go deeper when I can get some. It's hard to do it because they can't, everybody can't see it. So just watch the replay of it, and you'll be able to see it. But this is the difference, y'all. Queen Mama said, "I'm a keeper and I need to break. I need a break from car payment." See, but let me ask you. Can I ask y'all a real question? Why are car payments the only payments we need a break from? Let me ask y'all a very real question, because car payments we need a break from, but we're okay with cell phone payments. We're okay with insurance payments. We're okay with car insurance payments. We're okay with, this is like a cost of living. And I don't have a problem when it comes to financially, I want to pay cash for a car, and I'm just going to keep my debt down, and I'm going to make sure that, the interest rates are high right now, so I'm not going to look to borrow. I'm just going to pay cash. That's fine. Paying cash as a savvy move is like, the bank's money is too expensive. I'm not investing. I'm not investing my money in anything. I'm just going to pay cash. But why are car payments the only ones it's the only payment we look and say, well, I want to avoid that. We don't do it with houses. We don't do it with anything else in life. And sometimes it makes us get a bad car because we like, oh, I'm just going to save up $8,000. I'm just going to say. Meanwhile, if we knew how to properly structure our deals, we can get the best car for our budget, under our budget. Because y'all know all cash is saved up payments, right? All people be like, oh, I'm going to pay cash. If you save up $20,000, that's just a bunch of saved up payments. Yeah, she said, I'm tired of house payments too. I understand. And again, if we have the cash and we can go and we can look, I'm going to teach you how to pay cash for cars if it makes sense. And if you have cash, that's great. We got to make sure we get the best price on the car. But at the same time, you need to know when it doesn't make sense to pay cash. If they're doing 0% financing on the car you want, why wouldn't we use the bank's money at 0% and let our money continue to make money, or continue to keep our cash free? So again, because there's nothing to justify it. There's nothing to make it make sense. Oh, I don't want car payments. I don't want any of the payments that I have in my life. But my goal is to get the best the best out of what I'm paying for. But yeah, it's a lot that goes into it. You got to make sure that those that's why y'all, we got to shop below our budget. I need a break from rent. Yeah, we got to shop below our budget. Look, when we let people talk us into cars that are above our payments goals, that are above our monthly expense goals, oh, now we get tired of them. But if your monthly budget was 500 and you went in and you left with a great car at 450, 425, you ain't really tired of that payment. You're tired of the payment, right? Like, you're tired of the payment that's 700 when you really didn't want to go above 650. Now you're like, dang, I'm paying 700 for this car. Dang, I'm getting tired of this. When you're under, you don't get tired when you're under your budget. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Type I don't know, $, if that makes sense. We only get tired of payments when they're over our budget. When they're comfortably within our budget, we're never tired of them. That's why we're fine. So, but we got to learn how to get the best cars for our budget, and that comes through multiple bids. You have no idea. And then it comes through leasing versus buying, which is what we've been talking about in this initial thing. In this initial thing, I'll try to get everybody on one stream, where y'all could all see, because I really want to focus on the people who can see the slides. And because I know I could engage with them because they can see the slides, and then but it's people who can't. So that's all right. We'll continue to adjust. But you got to know, believe me when I tell you, thousands of people have learned that the biggest issue of affordability for the cars that they're driving was the fact that they didn't understand leasing. Leasing is going to get you 30, 40% more car for the same money when you learn how to get great lease deals. All day long. So if it's people who driving a daggone $50,000 car, they got a $900, $1,000, $1,100 a month payment. At the same time as people driving $50,000 cars, and look, this is their payment. I'm gonna show y'all something that's gonna blow your mind. You can't believe that this is a payment on a car. Right here, look. Greg is in our Facebook group. He's in our Cars from Home University program. He said, my first time posting here. His MSRP on his car that he got, it's a Kia EV6 Win with the tech package. $56,275 car, y'all. $56,000. That vehicle, if he went in there and said, I want to purchase that, man, I'm not leasing nothing. How much is it? That vehicle is $1,100 a month on its best day. 5-year loan, $1,100 a month. If he stretches out the loan 6 years, maybe it's $1,000 a month. I don't ever recommend you go above a 6-year loan. When we get into structuring our deal, y'all gonna hear me talk about the rule of 72, 10th birthday. We don't ever want to go above a 6-year loan. It's very risky, and it's a sign of affordability. We can't afford the car. It's like a 40, 50-year mortgage. So the point is, if he walks in to get that car, he's leaving with $1,000 car payment. Same car. Look at what he got, y'all. Shopping multiple offers. The dealer that won the bid, his payment is $527 a month. $527 a month. He gave him first month's payment, and he drove off. He said no other dealer came close. Some people may have shopped that car and said, Deshone, I was shopping a lease for that car. They was telling me it's $800 a month. Absolutely. That's normal, because the overpriced dealers that we don't buy from are going to take their shots. But in order for us to see that, wait, this car is not really $800, the best deal on this car is $527. We have to shop multiple offers. Now, it's not always going to be that dramatic, but I promise y'all, when y'all shop multiple offers, it's going to blow your mind. The best deal to the worst deal is going to be $3,000 to $5,000 different. And you're going to see that some of the dealers that you've trusted the most, that you've been buying from, maybe your family been buying cars from them, some of them may be the ones to take the biggest shot at you. So you have to shop multiple offers. But y'all see how there's no comparison to that deal Greg just got? $527 a month. Another person's driving the exact same vehicle paying $900. This is how, when y'all see these videos of that, people average car payment is $1,000. How? Because they don't understand leasing. They don't understand leasing. Once you understand leasing, you'll understand how these people are getting jammed up and how you may have gotten jammed up in a high car payment for a car that you might feel like, oh, I'm paying way too much money for this car. And then the opposite side is, if we are purchasing, we have to make sure we are getting the best price for the car and we are getting the best interest rate we can get. Does he lease to buy? No, we don't do lease to buys. We don't mix the two. Leasing is its own benefit. That's a great question. Great question. Let me put the banner back up for those of you who want to get the book. See, if you don't want to have to remember all of this, grab your book. My new book is called Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. It's digital, so you could download it, be literally using it in 2 minutes. And just go to deshonesbook.com. It's 75% off for our launch. And you can get your copy. If you're on Facebook or if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you could go right to my bio, click the link in my bio, get your copy while it's 75% off. Price goes back up to $97, I think, after 30 minutes. All right, so your payment is over $1,100 now, and look, that means your loan is probably somewhere around 60 grand or more. Depends on how much it depends on what your term was. So if your payment was $1,100 a month, on a 5-year term, that's a $60,000 loan. That's about a $5,500 loan on a 5-year term. So you want to look at other ways to acquire that car. Is there a way that I could have been in this car for less money? Now, watch this, Gigaware, because he's being honest. My payment's is $1,100. If you are buying that car and your intention is to keep it, and that means your intention is to keep it for 8+ years, you're going to pay off that car, and then you're going to just, start to catch once you don't have a car payment, you can start to catch up to the person who leased, because the person who leases is always going to have a payment. That's the downside about leasing. There is no opportunity for you to pay off the car, and you don't want to. Again, it's not like when you're not keeping cars long enough, you're getting great lease deals. The goal is not to pay off the car. The goal is to drive the most car I can for the least amount of money. That's the goal with a lease. The goal with a purchase is to now pay off the car and start to now keep the car long enough for the depreciation to cool off. Depreciation is the value that it loses every year. Thank you, Becky. Good to see you as well. Long time. Great to see you. So depreciation is the value the car loses every year. When you buy a brand new car, you lose 20% the first year. Then you lose 15%. Then you lose 15%. Then you lose 12%. Then you lose 10%. And as you keep the car longer, it gets to a point where you're only losing 5% or so a year. But you must keep that car long enough to get to that point. And what many of you have been taught to do, you may have been taught to, man, I buy my cars and then I'm replacing them in 3 years. I'm replacing them in 5 years. Now I'm replacing my cars when they're losing the most value. That's not when you want to replace a car. You now bought the car, it's losing value like crazy for the first 6-7 years. Now, perfect. It's going to cool off now. It's paid off now. Now I can start to recoup some of all that money that I put into that car. But most people don't do that. You may have been taught, I just go and get another car and I start the process all over again. So not only are you never getting to benefit, not only are you always having a payment anyway, you're not getting the benefit from all the money that you're putting into these cars. You're never allowing the depreciation to cool off to where you got no car payment and you just got a car out there and you can stack some of this money up. It just happens all the time. It's an issue of not understanding leasing. Leasing is for short-term people less than 8 years. Purchasing is for long-term people more than 8 years. And don't worry, we'll continue to go deep on this. All in the book. So anyway, anybody who wants to really know this and have it all in one place so they can use it, if you're shopping for a car now or in the next 12 months, you need this stuff right now. You know, I got tons of videos all over all my Facebook pages. But if you want all the information in one spot, get your book at 75% off. Just make sure that it's not showing the $97 price. Whenever you click to the website, make sure it's showing the 75% off price. So you can purchase off the bank loan. I don't know what you mean by that, Skinner. Is it smart to lease and then buy it out? No, see, and again, that's a very common question. Yo, what's the benefit of that? I mean, somewhere along the lines, we heard about leasing to buy. We don't want to, you're only leasing because you don't want to buy the car. You're buying the car because you want to keep it and take care of it for the long run. I see you, Dr. Coop. Congratulations. She said, I got the book. Enjoy it. Use it. Don't read it. Use it. And, I really can't wait to hear your success story. There's no reason. Look, when I'm going into a lease, and you got to have this in your tool belt. Some of you, your children are not going to keep a car 8 years. You're going to need to set them up to get a great lease. Yeah, you might be a person who like Deshone. I just buy my car, man, I keep it 10 years. If that's you, type K for keeper. Most times, if you buy your car, you keep them 10 years, type K in the comments for keeper. Thanks, Ambi. Said keep killing it. Appreciate you. If you are, the book is called Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping. It's in my TikTok bio and it's in my Instagram bio. But I think you only got, it's 30 minutes. You could get it for 75% off. While everybody is on, you could get it 75% off. Okay, so keepers, you are not, you're not worried. That's when you buy. When I'm going into lease, I'm not thinking about keeping. We don't want to mix the two. Leasing is, I'm going to get a great lease deal where I drive a brand new car for pennies compared to purchasing. Or for a small percentage compared to purchasing. That is a lease. My goal is not to buy the car. It's not to buy the car. You see, when we keep, we win. When we lease, we win, as long as we're getting good deals. But it's people who are mixing the two, and that might be you, and that's where we lose. We buy, and then we trade. We buy, and then we sell it in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. We tired of it. Oh, I'm gonna go switch out of this. That's mixing. The other one is you lease, and then you purchase the lease. So you lease your vehicle, and then you go buy it at the end. That is mixing. You don't want to mix because the benefits of leasing are laid out. The benefits of purchasing are laid out. Very clear, separate benefits. When you mix the two strategies, you lose the benefits. And again, most people who would tell you they bought their lease, they're buying it with a 5 or 6 year loan when they've already been paying 3 years to lease it. The lease is 3 years. The loan is 5 years. That's 8 years. And I'm going to tell y'all how this happened. How I figured out this was so bad, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I was in the dealership one day. Somebody comes in. They're like, hey, I want to replace my car. So I go out and I look at the car. I ask them what they owe. No, I don't think I asked them what they owe. They come to the dealership. They say, yeah, I got a car out there. I want to trade it in for a new car. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty normal. Let's take a look. Here's what happens. I say, what year is it? And they'll say, well, it's a 2018. I'm just using like a real example. Like they say, oh, it's a 2018. Now I'll ask them, how long have you had it? And they'll say, well, I bought it brand new. So I've had it 5 years, 6 years. Now, follow me, y'all. Everybody on here, I want your opinion on this. Person comes up and says they've had a car for 6 years. They bought it brand new. They've been paying on that car for 6 years. Don't you think that car should be paid off by now or almost paid off? Yes or yes. Type Y if you understand. Person bought it 6 years ago. You go out and I'm like, okay, mister, how long have you had it? They're like, I've had it for 6 years. So I'm like, okay, perfect. Everybody's saying yes. So this is what I'm thinking. This is how I found out buying your lease was a bad idea for most people, if not all. So I go and I say, okay, great. I see you're here trading. Now, in my mind, I'm already trained to talk to him about leasing because, thank you, Brent. I know you're here trading this car in 6 years. I want to show you what leasing looks like, and you're going to love that a lot better. You're not going to need this down payment. I'm going to be able to give you a check back for this equity in this car you got here. It's going to be all good. And I've helped some people do that. They come in and I show them the lease, and I'm like, you know, you keep just trading your cars, but if you lease, here's what, boom, that you could do. And then I'll give you this, you know, you get a big check back for your balance of your old car, all of that. So this is when it works, it's beautiful. But when it doesn't work, this is what it looks like. I'm like, I run and I'm like, okay, your car is worth about $15,000. Instagram just logged me out. Instagram just logged me out of nowhere. I don't know what happened. Let's see if I could go back. All right. So now when it doesn't work, so I go out and I found, you know, the used car manager may tell me this car is worth $15,000, and I'm like, okay, perfect. It's probably paid off. Great. He's gonna get like a check back for like almost all that, and then he's gonna have a low payment. He's gonna love it. So I find out when I call the bank, I say how much you owe. He says, well, I don't really know. I call the bank. I'm like, okay, I'm calling for Mr. Jones' payoff on his, you know, such and such car. And the bank says, okay, yes, the payoff is $15,000. I'm like, wait, 15,000? How could he still owe 15,000? This doesn't make sense. I look at him and I say, the bank is saying you still owe 15,000 on the car. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I didn't know how much I had owed. I said, wait a minute. Didn't you tell me that you had this car since it was new? Yeah, and you told me you had it for 6 years? Yeah. How do you still owe? And he said, oh, I leased it first, though. What I did was I leased it for 3 years, and then I had bought it at the end. And I'm like, there we go. That's the problem. You leased it for 3 years. Most people, when they're buying their lease, they're going to put a 6-year loan on it, which means 6 years later, from the day you bought it, from the day you originally leased it, 6 years later, you've been making payments, and you still have 2 more years of payments left. That's actually, I'm wrong. That's 9. 3 years of payments left. Happens all the time. So I literally, y'all, smart people on here, you'd never take a 9-year loan, right? Type never. You never take a 9-year loan. If you're enjoying, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed already, we still got probably 400 or 500 people on here throughout all the platforms. If you, whatever platform you're on, make sure you're following us, because this is the stuff we do. You would never, right? You would never take a 9-year loan. But the same adamant, we're adamant we'd never take a 9-year loan. We got to see every single time. Thank you so much. I appreciate the gifts on TikTok and all the platforms. We got to take every time we hear about buying our lease out, unless we're going to pay cash for it, which is another discussion. But most people are not. They're going to take a 5 or 6 year loan out. So as soon as you hear lease to buy, as soon as you think lease to buy, I want you to think 8 or 9 years of payments on the same car. That's why it's a bad idea. That's why it's a horrible idea. Okay? Now, if you are comparing, we had somebody in our group yesterday who was asking about buying his lease out because he's going to give the car to his parents and because they're going to keep it long term, and the value of the car compared to the value of a similar used car is a great deal. That's different. Buy it. Because all you're doing when you're buying your lease is you're buying a used car. It's your car. I used to help people buy their lease. Hey, they come out of the office, we switch the plates because we got to re-register the car. And I'm like, okay, so how was it? Now they just signed up for a 5-year loan, 6-year loan on a car that they've already been in for 3 years. They're not really excited about it. You know, I've had the car for 3 years. At least when you go buy a used car, you're excited about it. You're excited. Oh, nice. It's new to me. But when you buy your lease out, you're not really excited. Thank you, man. Y'all going crazy with these gifts and everything. I appreciate it. So these are the things, like what I want y'all to have. As long as you stick with me and you learn what I teach, you're going to have clear boundaries that you operate in that always protect you. That's the name of the game. There's clear things I do. There's clear things I don't do. I know I have rules. I have boundaries. And what I want y'all to get familiar with is the 8-year rule. The 8-year rule is the first rule. It says if you're not keeping your car 8 years, you should not be buying it. You can't outlive the depreciation. You cannot outlive the depreciation compared to someone who purchases. Now, it's too much to go deep on right now. We'll go deep because I know some people thinking, oh, Deshone, but if I pay cash for a brand new car, I'll pay less overall. Yeah, but if you pay cash for a brand new car, you're still laying out all the money. You're still laying out all the money and you're still trying to get that back. You're still, oh, I paid 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand. Do you understand that a person who leases that same car, what would you rather be? Big dog who thinks you're big dog because you're going to write a $50,000 check, or a person who comes in and says, I'm going to get that car for $500 a month. Do I want 50 grand coming out of my bank account going into a car, or do I want $500 every month? It's much more, it's a much more pleasant feeling to give a bank $500 every month to drive their $40,000 car than it is to say, okay, you want this $40,000 car, then you come give us a check for the whole amount and the taxes and everything. Now I'm taking the check out, boom. And again, there are situations where that's right, but I want you may have been somebody who's like, yeah, but I don't think it's right for me. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not one of these people that's going to make y'all feel like you are wrong by using leverage and learning how to creatively acquire cars where it's a little bit of money coming out of your bank account every month versus what people have told y'all and how you should be buying cars. Thoughts about leasing luxury vehicles. It doesn't change, Dr. Doctober. That's a great question. He said, what are your thoughts about leasing luxury cars? Same principle, 8-year rule. I don't care whether you're leasing a G-Wagon, whether it's a Bentley you're looking at, whether you're looking at a Toyota Corolla, the 8-year rule is what applies. Because the 8-year rule takes into account the depreciation. If you look and say, that's a car I'm keeping for 8 years or more, you buy it. If that's a car you're not keeping 8 years, you're going to see you'll pay thousands less and drive a better car leasing it, even if you try to buy it used. So I'll need more than one broadcast to really go deep on this. I'm just getting familiar with how to use all of these tools where I can show you all stuff. But we'll continue to go deep on this. This is not a subject. If you've gotten bad years and years of bad advice, it's not always. Some of you get a breakthrough immediately, and some of you it takes more time because again, it's been beaten to your head, and people with loud voices who shout tell you this is what you do, or you never do this, or you always do it like this. You know, like who's heard somebody say never buy a used car? I mean, never buy a new car, always buy used. Who's heard that? Type of U for used. If you were taught you always get a used car, you should never get a new car. Who's taught that? And we got a couple more minutes. We'll stay on. We'll do some more questions. As long as y'all continue to share the broadcast and continue to stay tuned in, I see we still got hundreds of people on. Then we'll continue. All right, now let me tell you how. See. You either have to teach something that works for everybody, or what you teach will mess people up. If somebody says to y'all, every single one of you should be buying used cars, because that's what they'll say. Never buy a new car. Everybody on here should be buying a used car. So that means you think everybody in the country should be buying used cars, right? Yeah, absolutely. Nobody should buy a new car. Nobody in this whole country should buy a new car. Like, no, always buy a used car. Okay, perfect. So let's just say if you had your wish, everybody in the country will be buying used cars, right? Because that'd be better for them, right? Yes, if I had my wish, everybody would be buying used cars. Then here's my question. How do they become used cars then? How do they become used cars if everyone is buying used cars? I want y'all to think about this. If you had your wish, you could snap your finger, Mr. Financial Advisor, whatever you teach. How could everyone buy used cars? It's impossible. The cars come in new. They don't just, so if everybody was buying used cars, what's happening to the new cars? They're just sitting there. And then, so that's not a practical solution. How do we acquire? Who should be buying brand new cars? People who are going to lease them, and people who are buying new cars, who want to purchase, keep long term, and you could afford new. That's only if some people say, Deshone, I want to buy. I'm not leasing, I want to buy. I keep my cars, but should I buy new or pre-owned? That depends on budget. That depends on, unless you want one specific from a year, somebody be like, oh, I want this special year. But if it's a case of, you know what, I can afford both. Should I buy new? Should I buy pre-owned? That's a matter of budget and preference. If I could afford a new one and I can keep it long enough to outlive the depreciation, then I'll buy new. But if I can't afford to get a quality vehicle for my budget, then I'll buy pre-owned. And some people want to treat themselves. Some people like, I only get a new car every 10 years, Deshone. I'm going to get something new. That's fine. That's fine. As long as it's long term, because time heals all wounds. We killing the likes on TikTok too. I appreciate everybody tapping the screen. Y'all still running the likes up. Appreciate it. Shout out to the subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube yet, please, we invite you to subscribe. This is what we'll do. You'll get notifications of when we live, so you can make sure you tapped in. I see you, Barbara. She said, I just bought the book. I appreciate everybody who got the book at 75% off. This is the launch. I'm excited. As y'all saw earlier in the broadcast, we're already rated 4.94 on Goodreads.com. We got 31 reviews. That book, Car Shopping for People That Hate Car Shopping, has been really changing people's lives and the way they shop. It's a tool. It's not something you read. It's something you use. So get your copy at deshonesbook.com, 75% off, or you can scan the QR code, or if you're on Instagram or TikTok, just go to my bio. And as long as you're seeing this, you still should be able to get it at the 75% off price. And it's immediate download. So, and you'll see as you read it, there's a reason I had to make it a digital book. I couldn't print it because it links to videos, it links to docs, I got scripts that it links to. There's no way I would have been able to do it printing the book. And then also, sometimes I need to update stuff, like Vroom went out of business 2 months ago. If I would have printed the book, now Vroom is, I need to be able to update real time when something happens, and I couldn't do that with a print book. I didn't want thousands of print books out there, and then something changes, and now I got to tell people, oh no, you got to get volume 2 now. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Angelina. All right, so Dr. Coop says, I have a paid off Toyota. I don't want to trade it. Should I have a down payment? You don't need, look, if you can find a deal on the vehicle you want below your budget with no down payment, then do it. You said you have a paid off Toyota. You don't want to trade it in. Now, here's what I ask people. You put the vehicle to use, because if you're going to go and get another vehicle, then you're going to be paying for that vehicle. You don't really want, the only people I recommend have an extra vehicle is if you're a high mileage driver. Who's a high mileage driver? You're driving over 20,000 miles a year. Over 20,000 a year, type HM for high mileage. These are the only people that it benefits you having a paid off car like this. So sometimes it's worth it to buy your car, pay off the first car. And here's what I like. All right, so we got a lot of high mileage drivers watching right now. So I have a strategy in the book, and what you'll hear me talk about is really 2 routes for high mileage drivers, so that y'all can stop having all this negative equity when you come in to replace your vehicles. What typically happens with high mileage drivers, and the reason I suggest to them 2 cars, 1 car payment, is because they're putting so many miles on their vehicle, but your loan is a normal loan. Your loan is a 5-year loan or a 6-year loan. Those loans are made to go down for the normal or average driver. And even the average driver is going to have negative equity on these loans in the short term. So when you are destroying the value of your car because you're putting 20,000, 30,000 miles a year on it, it's going from being worth 20 grand one year to now it's worth 12 grand the next year because you put 30,000. You're destroying the value of it, but the loan that's attached to it is not moving. This is the indicator that the loan and the purchase price or the value of the asset is totally unrelated. They don't matter. That's why you have to make sure you get a good price on the asset. You can't just pay attention to what is my loan doing, because your loan doesn't tell you what you're really in the car for. So check it out. You now are putting all this mileage on your car. You come in 4 years and you're like, hey, you know what? Car got 200,000 miles on it now. Let me go ahead and trade this thing in. Problem is, 200,000 miles, you still got 2 years left on the loan. You still owe 15 grand. You still owe 12,000. You still owe 20,000. And you are now seriously hurting your value, your next deal, because all that baggage you got to come to this next deal. The solution to stay out of that is to make sure that you are having I teach either 2 routes. Well, the third is really just be a long-term person. You could drive 30,000 miles a year. And if I'm a long-term person, I'll just have 300,000 miles on my car in 10 years. And then I just go switch it. It's keepers here that's long-term people, high mileage drivers, and they get their car. That thing got 250,000 miles. It's mostly highway. And in 8, 9, 10 years, they go and they replace it. No need to lease. Again, continuing theme. Long-term, don't think about leasing. Because some people who just tune in and they catch a brief, oh, is this so everybody should lease? No, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Long-term people, long-term purchase, you buying a car for your kid in college and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna keep that thing for 10 years, man. You know, I'm boring. Great. But most kids are not. They're like, hey, when I get my job, when I turn 24, I'm probably gonna want something different. So if you're not a long-term person, you should be purchasing. But I mean, you should be leasing. But going back to the high mileage, y'all, this is how it works. The 2 strategies for high mileage drivers is to have one separate car, you pay that thing off, and now that becomes your mileage car, and you go and lease a nice car. This is beautiful. This prevents you from having 2 car payments, and this allows you to have a nice car that you're not destroying. So you pay off that first car. If you're going to go this route, your first deal is a purchase, because you're going to get that first car, pay it off, could be new, could be used, but it must be quality. Pay it off, and as soon as that car is paid off, now I go lease my nice car. So I might be putting a high mileage on that first car I'm buying, but once I go lease my nice car, now I got a payment over here, my nice car is over here, and this is when I take out to dinner. This is when I want to go out and have a good time. I don't want a car that I'm just always putting, 30,000 miles a year on. Now I split it. And this has allowed so many high mileage drivers to continually be able to predict what they're going to put in these cars, because now they can't. You cannot predict how much y'all are spending on these cars, high mileage drivers. Y'all are losing so much on resale value. Your loans are just so high and they're moving slow. You don't know how much you are losing, but I break it down for you. It's thousands. You can't destroy the value of a car and then go trade it. It follows you. So that's one strategy. Second is a high mileage lease. Second is straight up. First time I experienced this, I had a guy came in and he was bringing back a lease with 75,000 miles on it. And I asked him, I said, man, I didn't even know. And that's my ignorance. I was selling cars and I didn't even know that was available. And I said, let me ask you a question. How long you been doing these, like, what do you do? He's like, I'm in sales. Like I do 25,000 miles a year, every year. I said, okay, wow. And you lease your car? He said, yeah. Because I already know what a good lease deal is. I just didn't really take into account back then. This is probably 2015. I didn't take into account a high mileage good lease deal. And when he told me what his payment was, And he said, yeah, I come back 75,000 miles. I drop that thing off. I pay my payment every month. Now here's the thing. He might only be paying $150 or $200 a month more for his super high mileage. But that's much better than him buying the cold car, destroying the value, coming back and trying to trade it with 10, 15 grand negative equity. So strategy, you are not really purchasing cars with strategy until leasing and purchasing is in your tool belt and you know when to use which. For your family, not just you, for your family. It's not just you. All right. So great questions. So this is the type of stuff that's in the book. Everything's in the book. Whether you see me live, whether you see me on social media making videos, you're going to get all the information. You don't have to worry about, oh, Deshone is holding back info. It's not. Now, access to me, yes, I have access. I have a Cars from Home University where I coach people personally and we work together. That's access. But as far as the information's out there. It's how you want the information. We'll get it to you anyway. If you want it all in one spot, get the book, get Car Shopping for people that hate car shopping. Download it now. It's 75% off. Scan the QR code or go to deshonesbook.com or go to my Instagram or TikTok bio and get your 75% off copy. But other than that, you don't have to worry about not having the information. See, what y'all have had to deal with is how do we make great car deals? How do we not pay penalties when we don't have the information? But now the information's here. It's here for you. It's just you got to decide, how do I want the information? Do I want to look through all Deshone's videos? I got a video on every topic. More videos to come. They're not in order, and they're for different people. Some of you are going to purchase used cars. Some of you are going to lease. Some of you are going to buy a new car. Some of you are going to pay cash. Some of you have good credit. Some of you don't. So throughout all those videos, you got to sort through that. In the book, you're only following one path. When I do videos, when I do a book, it's like one path. Let's stay focused so that we can keep you on track. That's why it's step by step. Yeah, that's how the book is designed. All right, how do you purchase a vehicle without proof of income? That's tough. You need other things that are going to weigh. That's a good question. So if you don't have proof of income, credit profile gets you approved, not credit score. So proof of income is usually only required when you have a lower score or you have a new company, new business, and they need some type of way to, try to, make sure they're going to be all right recouping their money. How is the car going to be paid? So if I didn't have proof of income, then I got to work on credit. Or I got to have a lot of cash. And even then, what's the reason we don't have proof of income? Once I know that, I could better explain. What's the reason we don't have proof of income? Seems dealers don't care about mileage if you release with them. That's now good time. So now watch this, y'all. This comment just came in. We'll still cycle through all the comments. We got another little while in this hour. We're getting through as much as we get through. It's good time on YouTube said, seems dealers don't care about mileage if you release with them. Absolutely a mirage. I asked y'all earlier, who's had somebody a dealer say, oh, we'll take care of the old payments. We'll take care of the mileage penalty. It's absolutely not true. Since 2006, here's the only time, shout out to y'all running the likes up on TikTok. I appreciate it. Y'all keep running them up. Thank you so much. Shout out to the sharers. Everybody who shares good information, just hit the share button wherever you're at and share with somebody if you're in this sharing. So I've never seen mileage taken care of, ever. No program, no bank, no leasing company, and we've done thousands of transactions. I've never seen a leasing company say, we'll forgive mileage. Never. So that does not happen. Mileage penalties let's say we calculate a $2,000 mileage penalty, that gets rolled over to your next lease deal, and we're working that lease deal with that $2,000 accounted for. So whatever the deal is we're working you now, perfect, here's what it is. Make sure that $2,000 penalty is in there. You pay for that. Now, in some cases, very rare, there's loyalty programs where they waive some payments. Mercedes used to have this. It's since gone away, and they didn't have it on every vehicle. They didn't run it every month, where if you lease another Mercedes, we'll cover 3 of your old payments. So you could get out 3 months early, no penalty, but it had to be waived. Since I got into the business, I've heard dozens of people sitting around me say, we are going to be waiving those, but we're going to be taking care of those payments. Mm-mm. Are you waiving the payments? Oh, what do you mean by that? Are you waiving the payments? See that, and we when you ask them that question, I don't want you to even go in looking to get out early. I'd rather you know what your deal is, so you can shop from home the way I teach, where no one has to reveal that information to you. No one is. If you got the right strategy, you're never putting yourself in a position where someone can lie to you without you knowing it. So if you go in the old way and you go into one dealer and say, hey, I'm looking to get my, new lease and I got like penalties, and they'll say, okay, we'll take care of it. That's putting yourself in position to be lied to. Oh, we took care of that. We built in the payment. Yeah, all the payments are taken care of. This is your new payment. Mm-mm. When we shop, when we take control of our deal, that's not something someone's telling us. That's something we already know. Because when we're over on mileage, we always want to see how much can we sell the car for. I was over mileage on my Jeep, sold it, still made money. Still made money. There's plenty of people who go over on their mileage and can still sell their lease and make a lot of money. Even if they break even, they avoid the penalty. So first is always to do our equity assessment and see how much we can sell the car for. And if we can sell it, we avoid the penalty. And then we're choosing payments. Do we get out early? Do we make the payment? You see, when getting out of your lease early, unless you sell the vehicle, y'all, you can't get out of your lease early. You're breaking a contract. So I don't want y'all I don't want y'all using language or comfortable with language that cost you money, because you've heard people say this for years. Oh, I'm just going to get out of this. No, you're going to get out of it and you're going to pay penalties for that. So because they've taught us, or you've been taught, oh, you can get out, no problem. You call the dealership, hey, you know what, y'all? I bought so many cars from y'all. I know I'm supposed to keep this lease for how many years? It's supposed to be 3 years, Mrs. Johnson. Okay, yeah, but I think I'm ready for something new already. All right, well, when can you come in, Miss Johnson? See, they're never going to say, just so you know, Miss Johnson, if you break the lease, the penalty is going to be, pretty significant, because you contracted for 3 years and now you're getting out. So we're going to have to roll over probably about $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 to your new lease. So no, they'll just come in, get you in, and all right, here's your new payment, Miss Johnson. You don't realize that I'm paying $100 more for this car than I could have been paying if I just waited. But because you've been taught to be a payment shopper, it doesn't matter to you. But somebody who's financially savvy, who's like, man, I don't want that extra $100 coming out of my house for the same vehicle. You're not going to do this. So we cannot ever believe what dealers say about penalties, about, oh, we'll take care of that. We find out, can we sell our car to avoid the penalty? Or if I can't, I either got to pay the payments and get out earlier, or I'm going to stay in it and just take the mileage penalty. That's not a bad idea most times, y'all. Sometimes people will call and say, yo, I'm going over mileage. And I say, okay, well, based on how you're going over, you'll only be over by like 2,000 miles. That's only $500. Oh, I thought it was going to be more than that. Nah, you're going to be over by 2,000 miles. Just, wait till the end. And then we'll, when you get your new car, build that 500 into the deal, and that's it. Or just pay the $500. Because very rarely are people, oh, I was supposed to drive 36,000 and I'm doing 100. That's just, wait, something went wrong here. What the heck happened? I can see you were supposed to do 36 and you did 40. You're supposed to do 36,000 miles. You did even 45. Maybe you got a different job. But I mean, how we have to structure our leases right so that if you know you're a high mileage driver and you take a 10,000 mile a year lease, shame on you. Like, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can, and then some people, oh, I'll just buy it at the end. You're killing yourself. You're killing yourself. The residual value, you're going to put a ridiculous amount of money on those, or a ridiculous amount of mileage on that car, and you're going to buy it in 3 years with 90,000 miles on it for the same buyout price that was estimated from your 10,000 mile a year lease. They estimated this buyout price is for a person who brings the car back with 30,000 miles on it. Here's the price. And then you bring it back with 90 and you pay the same price. Oh, I'm just going to buy it because I went over on the miles. No, killing yourself. You're realizing the loss. So again, this is why we want to be in your life. This is why I'm doing my best to be in your life so that you can avoid these things. Anybody who really wants to have somebody, like we're set up. We've been doing this for 3 years as far as a company, providing education. So, I mean, whether it's hundreds, thousands, dozens, we're set up to make sure that everybody who wants to protect themselves and get the best deals are able to do it. Paula, got my book. Phenomenal. Use it. Everybody that got the book, thank you. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, Lord. I appreciate you. We're going to be doing these lives regularly. I think, this is the best format. I like to come and interact and really answer questions and really show y'all, why I want you to start treating cars, buying cars and leasing cars, getting cars like buying small houses. Most people treat getting cars like going to Walmart and getting a TV, big screen. You come back home and you're like, man, it's like you get an itch, but you get an itch for a $30,000 decision or a $10,000 decision. When you start planning out your car purchases the way I'm going to show you, and you go in with a system and a strategy, the way that's taught in my book is 7 steps. First step is deciding whether you lease or buy. 7th step is delivery. So by the time you get to step 7 in my book, by the time you get to step 7 of what I teach, you should be picking up your car or it should be being delivered to you. So it's not about learning and reading and then, okay, Deshone, I just read everything. I just learned everything. I just watched all the videos. Now I'm ready to go get my car. No, we're going to you learn by doing. And if I teach you a different way to shop, different things to do, by the time you get your car, you're going to be like, oh, I didn't need Deshone to tell me what to do step 1 through 7. I just needed him to tell me this is step 1, do that. And then when I'm done, I come back. Okay, Deshone, I did step 1. What's step 2? Here's step 2. Do this now. Okay, perfect. Let me go on these websites, do step 2. Perfect. Just did step 2, Deshone. Perfect. Here's step 3. Do this. And we found that has been able to guarantee success for so many people. And that's how they're able to get the same deals that I get. Like this is this lady right here, this young lady, like Taupe. She got a BMW $54,750 BMW, putting dealers against each other. She got it for $690 a month. She got the protection plan and raised it up. Her payment on that BMW. Now, mind you, if you can see on YouTube, if you can see on Facebook, you can see this slide. $690 a month. People are paying for that $54,000 BMW. People are paying $1,100 a month to go in and purchase that car. $54,000 is $1,100 a month with no money down because she didn't do any money down. $690. You see what I'm saying? Some of you might be looking, and quite honestly, some people may watch it because we're going to syndicate this. Whether you're watching this live or in syndication, doesn't change the value. You might be driving that same car. And you might be looking and saying, yo, I'm paying $1,000 a month for that car. She's paying $690. I put $8,000 down. She put no money down. We can't compare. You think Dave Ramsey, God forbid, and look, shout out to Dave Ramsey. I love what he teaches in terms of financial literacy. I love that he teaches people to invest and build for retirement and make sure I love that. But there's an area that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's when it comes to cars. See, look, credit is a big part of what, it has a lot to do with me helping you. Y'all don't hear me teaching credit. It's important. It's a complimentary topic for us to talk about. I talk cars, how to make sure you pay the lease for them. Yeah, maybe naturally. Let me get some credit tips too, Rodney, you could just go right to my TikTok bio, grab your book. It's 75% off. Click the link in my TikTok bio. You think she can ever listen to someone that tells her you shouldn't be leasing? She knows when to lease and when to purchase. She's not in love with that vehicle. She's not keeping that vehicle 8, 9, 10 years. So how can I drive this vehicle for the lowest amount of money in my household? I'm gonna shop all my offers. The dealer that wins the bid, I'm gonna see what it is. Oh, look at that. It's $690 a month. I'll take it. This is how we are going to keep thousands of dollars in our household. As things continue to go up, I need you guys to be spending, I need you not only to be making sure your cars are below your max budget so that every single month you're not growing tired and weary of your car payment. That means it just needs to be below your max budget. And then the second thing we need is to make sure that you are driving the best possible product for that money. You could be below budget and look at what you're driving for the money, and you're like, yeah, I'm below budget, but could I have gotten